Morning. Steve here again with a helpful tutorial on managing your retail energy provider business, especially as a startup. Um, One of the things I discovered very early on that one of the biggest challenges to running a business like this is that you will have, especially depending on how many states you're in, many reports that you have to file, sometimes on an annual, quarterly, monthly basis, sometimes semi-annual. And if you're going to be in multiple states, let's say six, that quickly adds up. I know that in one situation that I was in, we were only in six states, but we had about 125 reports to file a year. Uh, it typically turns out that April actually is the witching hour, because in April, a number of reports come due, especially at the end of the month, both annual, quarterly, and monthlies. And that can be a really rough time for your regulatory director or manager to make sure all those filings are done correctly. And so you really need to stay on top of the filing requirements, especially because, frankly, the quickest way that you can get an enforcement action from a regulator is the untimely filing of a report, or the fact that it's incomplete. I've seen many situations where a report just gets overlooked, and 3 to 6 months later, the regulator is coming back saying, "Hey, where's this report?" If it happens again, you're going to get an enforcement action. You're going to get a fine or penalty. That's just not something you want to, start off as a retail energy provider, having these kinds of uh, basically screw ups. So what you want to do is you want to create a system of record um, that basically records all of the reports that you're going to have to file, and make sure that there's a workflow so that you can get all the information you need to complete the filing, and you have templates with the forms. You have instructions on how to access any portals and passwords in order to make the filing. In fact, you may even want to make a video on some of these filings, because they're a little complex. For example, if you do the EIA filings for the Department of Energy, or the EQR filings for FERC, you use a portal of theirs, and there's almost an art to learning how to input the data and get it to go through without any faults. So, having a little training video attached to that report could be very helpful, so that you have a nice system of succession, where people who come and go from your company could step right up and see from year to year, what filings were done in the past, what was the format, how did you file it, uh, do I have a little training video to show me how to do it? It could save you an incredible amount of a waste of time of having to um, train someone else new, if you have all these things prepared and situated in one workplace. Probably the most common situation where reports get missed is where you have a change in personnel. And, if the typical method would be, let's say your regulatory manager, keeps them in a Windows folder and has Excel spreadsheets and maybe emails for contact information, where that person knows where all the data is. But frankly, when they leave, there's no centralized location for someone to go and figure out what they were supposed to do. So by creating a centralized location, you create a business continuity plan as well, to make sure that there's no hiccups in a change in control. So I've created a sample template on Airtable that allows you to basically record all of the reports that you have to file, creates fields for things like the state where they're required, what's the deadline, formats for videos, so you can have training videos, formats for fields for example, passwords and user IDs in order to access a particular portal, samples, forms that have been used in the past, so that again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time, every year when we're trying to refile a report. And also a field for like notes that would say, okay, when you need this information, you need to go to the supply department and get this information from a particular person, or from a particular report filed off of your billing system that will provide you, for example, all the usage data that you will need. And then you can also have, various, in the blocks of Airtable, various metrics that show, how many reports were filed on time, were any late, how many have been filed for the year, how many reports are filed in individual states. Useful information that your management might want to know and have access to. Plus, as always with Airtable, the beauty of it is that this is a centralized workplace in the cloud where everyone can access it, if not to actually work on the report, but to actually oversee the process to make sure that complaints are, or that reports are being filed on time, that people have all the information and that they need to get the report filed, and just basically accountability for the entire process throughout the company. So I hope this is a little helpful tip on how to stay out of trouble with the regulator, and that if you want to look at my other video, which is basically a demonstration of this regulatory reports management tool, I'll have that in another video which accompanies this one, so that you can walk through and see it. And of course, you can access a copy of the template on the website in the blog section. You also may want to subscribe to this YouTube video and hit the bell if you find this video helpful and you want to look at additional ones and see new ones as they come out each week. At least once or twice a week, I will be publishing new helpful tips. So I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. And please give me any feedback that you have that's constructive, and how I can make this product better for you.